Um, I'm sure many of you guys have gone through the unfortunate event of having a loved one pass in your lifetime. Now imagine watching a loved one pass away in a painful, agonizing way. Wouldn't you agree that the latter example would be much more unendurable and painful? Now imagine if this could somehow be averted, if you or a loved one could choose the place, time, and manner in which one passes away. Imagine the peacefulness and dignity it could bring. Our topic is euthanasia, and our proposition is that the terminally ill patients should have a right to euthanasia through physician-assisted suicide. Okay, the roots of the word euthanasia is traced back to the Greeks, meaning good death, but in modern society has come to mean a death free of anxiety and pain, often brought about through the use of medication. Most recently, it has come to mean mercy killing, deliberately putting an end to someone's life in order to spare an individual suffering. So, many times this means if someone's terminally ill, a doctor may give them above the recommended morphine level. So when they pass away, it'll be painless and quiet and of their choosing. The definition I supplied to you was written by Michael Manning, MD, in his book, Euthanasia and Physician-Assisted Suicide, Killing or Caring. Our significance claim is that euthanasia would benefit the terminally ill to achieve a dignified and less painful death. Our first point is that euthanasia improves a person's quality of life with a controlled and calm manner of passing away. In a New Zealand publication, The Press, the reporter John McCrone, he introduces Maureen, an elderly lady that is also a euthanasia activist. She says, "It is not death that aging baby boomers fear so much as the manner of dying. Too often, what they have seen happens to people they know. A friend of Maureen had bowel cancer. Her gut was blocked and the contents were coming back the wrong way. The crap," says Maureen, "came up through her mouth. These are the kinds of things that can happen which you need to know about to make an informed choice about euthanasia," says Maureen bluntly. "Would I want to die with poo in my mouth? No, I want an injection." Our second point is that there has always been a need and there will always continue to be a need for legalized euthanasia. Euthanasia has been a long debated controversy dating back to the Roman Empire, and all throughout history there has been fluctuations of the public favoring it and the public going against it. In the book, A Merciful End, The Euthanasia Movement in Modern America, the author Ian Dobigan has in his book, throughout classical antiquity, there was widespread support for voluntary death as opposed to prolonged agony, and physicians complied by often giving their patients the poisons they requested. So for the Romans and Greeks, this was a widely accepted and common method for passing away in a dignified manner. Also, in the same book, he writes, "With the coming of the Great Depression and more troubled economic times, Americans began talking about the suicide and controlled dying. Public opinion polls indicated that in 1937 that fully 45% of Americans had caught up with the idea of euthanasia." So that's not half, but pretty darn close to half of America agreeing that they would rather have a controlled and peaceful death versus one of pain, if that's what their life led to. In American legislation alone, there have been multiple steps that have given the patients more power and steps closer to euthanasia. In 1976, the nation's first aid in dying statute signed into law was in California. The California Governor, Edmund G. Brown, signed the California Natural Death Act into law. This grants terminally ill people the right to authorized withdrawal of life-sustaining medical treatment when death is imminent. So they could choose if they wanted to be on life support or not. This was in 1976, and a year later, 8 more states ratified the same bill. And in 1990, Jack Kevorkian participates. He's also known as Dr. Death. He's a major advocate for euthanasia, and in 1990, he assisted his first patient in a peaceful death. So that was as early as 1990 in America. And then and also that year, the U.S. Congress passed the Patient Self-Determination Act, which requires hospitals that receive federal funds to tell patients they have the right to demand or refuse treatment. So that again gives the patients more power that they previously didn't have. Our plan of action is to pass the Death with Dignity Act in all states to allow terminally ill patients to have the right to euthanasia through physician-assisted suicide. I'm not sure if you, no, but it's already passed in 2 states, Washington and Oregon, and they've been in effect for about 15 years. And, sorry, I have... Okay, Oregon has had the law since 1997, requires that, how their system works, requires that a mentally competent resident be, that is suffering from a terminal illness and has less than 6 months to live, has to have all those things in order before being eligible to receive a lethal potion. Most data suggests the program has not been abused at all, and that's been in effect for 12 years.